Hello and welcome. I'm KJ and I've got Swiley here with me.
And welcome back again, everybody.
You are listening to UnMaddening, where we unpack the madness of society one haphazard word at a time.
I like the haphazard.
The word of the day it was a new word for me actually, which I like. It is desultory, which describes actions, conversations, or efforts that are aimless, haphazard, and lack a consistent plan or purpose.
I couldn't think of a single person that would do that.
It often refers to jumping from one thing to another, reflecting a lack of enthusiasm or focus, such as a desultory conversation or a desultory attempt. Synonyms for the word desultory would be aimless, haphazard, random, erratic, unfocused, unmethodical, sporadic, or cursory. And then antonyms, so opposites of desultory, are to be organised, systematic, methodical, focused, purposeful, and consistent. These sound like things that are good to me. The opposites of desultory. Common phrases and usage. Desultory conversation is chatting that jumps between topics without depth, often in a half-hearted manner. I guess that's like having a yarn with the person in the checkout or something like that, just, talking about the weather. Desultory efforts or attempts, working without focus or dedication. And then you have desultory reading or study, which is skipping around and not reading in a structured way.
Power reading.
There's also a desultory deflating loss by a sports team. Haven't experienced that feeling before. Or desultory half-hearted cleaning of a room. Like just move a couple of things around, push some papers. And
I experience that daily.
These examples show that a desultory approach is often negative, indicating a lack of passion or a blah, finger quote, blah attitude toward a task or situation.
What is it? That meh type of attitude.
It's proper meh.
Oh, it'll be all right. It'll work itself out.
So when I read about this word and its definition, I really felt that it was applicable to the world of politics, particularly for those of us in Australia. So that sounds like a few pollies there.
Do you think?
Desultory attempts of whatever and the blah and the meh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did this broad search on the interweb to see what got spat back out. Desultory politics in Australia. Just tell me about it.
You could start from the budget.
No, I didn't knuckle down on individual policies. It was more just about, okay, well, you tell me, Internet, what do you think about this? And it said, desultory politics in Australia describes a fragmented, often aimless political environment characterised by declining voter confidence, a convergence of major parties on policy, and a death spiral for opposition parties. Voters have increasingly expressed deep unhappiness with political figures, leading to a rise in minor party support and a lack of belief in traditional adversarial politics.
I would agree.
Sounds about right. Key elements of this landscape include rise of minor parties, voters are turning away from the two-party system, with One Nation gaining significant traction as an alternative, particularly amongst disillusioned Gen X voters, holding up to 35% of their support in some polls. Opposition in disarray. The Liberal Party has suffered from consecutive federal and state election defeats, leading to internal conflict and a death spiral, there's that term again, as they struggle to find a new cohesive identity, particularly after losing major city electorates. If they just went back to the identity they had before and stopped trying to blend with the more popular, what they view the more popular party, they'd probably be okay there.
Sounds like AI is trying to do a word of a day. Cohesive.
Maybe. Or what was the other one? Death spiral. They like death spiral.
Death spiral.
Yeah. Policy convergence and fatigue. Critics argue that the major parties often converge on nearly identical policies, leading to Me Too politics, avoiding difficult decisions on structural issues and making the political process seem boring and risk-averse. Surely not, Swals.
Please, the masses.
They wouldn't. They are absolutely out there slugging their guts out for us, aren't they?
Yeah, and the policies are developed not just to please the masses, but to make sure that we are moving forward as a country and, with some prior thought.
Are the masses pleased? I don't think so. Nasty and brutal politics is
66%
the
of them are.
next line here that the internet has told us. Australian politics has been described as a vicious game characterised by rapid changes in leadership, with no Prime Minister finishing a full term in a recent decade, and the increased use of divisive US-style attack ads. I don't watch the telly. We don't have the television for normal ads. Occasionally we do use the iPad to watch like a show that we like from like a network,
using the
and you get the ads. But those are just the bits where you go to the toilet or you fill your water bottle up, or like I'm not watching them, so I'm not sure.
I remember that it was when we were younger, and that was what TV was.
I'm still young. How dare you?
Yes. Well, do you remember running? Oh right, ad breaks are on, and that's when you go and do all your bits and pieces, and you're running, and and you're waiting for that one ad break that you know is the end ad break before it comes back, and you hear it, and you're
It's usually the ad for a TV show that's on that show.
That's right.
That's like the introductory one to the show that is currently on, is coming back. It would be anyway. We're not talking about it anymore.
Now.
What happened? What were you trying to say? Do you even know anymore?
No, I don't know anymore. But that's all right.
Very desultory conversation happening over here. Public service failures is also listed here. The administration has been criticised for desultory and fragmented efforts in the public service, including poor training and reliance on consultants, leading to public sector failure. It's a bit repetitive there on the old AI, you Googleizer or whatever they call it. This sense of political malaise is further fueled by the constant electioneering caused by short 3-year terms, which often hampers effective governance.
When did that first start? Because that was disgusting when they just started outbidding each other in the parties, throwing one politician to bring it up within there.
Look, I don't think it's a new thing, and I don't have the stats in front of me, and I can't lift up the laptop and search for you because the mic stands in the way for it. But certainly Turncoat was a situation, and Gillard and Rudd.
Gillard was before Turncoat.
There was
and that's
few of those.
What a way to have our first female Prime Minister in that sort of sense. It's very desultory.
Next, I searched, do Australian politicians behave in a desultory manner?
No.
And the answer is, based on recent political analysis and public sentiment surveys, many Australians perceive their politicians as having a desultory or ineffective approach to policy, governance and long-term planning, often favouring short-term political manoeuvring over substantial, consistent action.
Well, at least
I would like some substantial, consistent action. Key observations regarding this perspective include policy competence concerns. The policy competence of Australian governments is often described as desultory, with arguments that the government doesn't do policy well compared to more technocratic models. Convergence and lack of choice. A common critique is the convergence thesis, where major political parties, Labor and the Coalition, are seen as adopting nearly identical, uninspiring and Me Too policy positions on major issues. This results in limited policy choice and a lack of serious debate. Yes.
100%.
Where do you actually stand? They're so pathetic with saying what they think that they just sort of toe the line near what the other person said, but it's just, marginally different to it. It's pathetic.
I think the two major parties have pretty much gone as fence sitters. They sit on either side of the fence, whatever pleases the masses, and well, you did that, well, I'll do that too, and they're just like...
But they're just constantly doing the polls and hoping for the best, and or maybe we'll get the voters of this particular group, and there's plenty of them in the country, so we'll do whatever they think they'll get
rather than being about politics, it's now just...
rather than being about the country. What about being about Australia?
Oh, well, this is what gets us, this is what sells it to people.
Yes. It's not how do we succeed as a nation, it's how do I get to write to my mum that I got in again, or somebody gave me a gold star. Bruz, why are you in politics if you don't actually care about the country?
Well,
it's insane.
More social influencers than politicians.
Yeah, absolutely. Next was short-term focus. Observers note that credible long-term plans for issues like economic policy and intergenerational equity are often ignored in favour of short-term partisan campaigning.
And they would go hand in hand with what we were just talking about
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that, people's minds, the short attention span of
Oh, yeah.
today,
Well, we've been
well, they're going to
taught to
change.
do
So
that.
why make a long-term policy? Why?
We've all been told to Ready Player One, stare at our screens in front of our
that's right.
faces, and we're real bored real quick. That's, you're doom scrolling all the time. So you got to grab the attention very quickly. Oh, I saw this one thing that this policy is from this party and that's who I'm going to vote for.
Yeah, and they're going to change their mind in 10 seconds as well. Oh, no, I don't like that anymore. I like this now.
No, I'm just going to vote for the Free Palestine Party or the, I don't know, Global Regeneration of Genders. Is that one? I'm just making it up. I'm not sure. Public discontent. A 2025 report indicated that fewer than 36% of Australians trust federal politicians. Only fewer than 36%. That's interesting. And many voters feel the political class does not offer good value.
Does that mean there's 36% of Australians are ignorant?
Less than 36% trust them.
Oh, okay. Less than 36%.
Yeah.
So less than 30%, 6% of
Australians trust federal politicians. That's pretty dismal, but I'm surprised it's actually that high.
Yes.
Unserious governance is the next point. It says some critics have described current political actions, particularly regarding national security, as unserious. And then we have the high turnover again. I mean, it is a big point. You vote for a person and then that's not the person. And the policies are modified and the party is not united. And this is not what the interweb said. Sorry, that's just my rant. The rise of minor parties like One Nation is attributed to a widespread unhappiness with established political figures and a desire to express frustration with the two-party system.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you vote for someone and you've voted for that thing and then they overthrow them and put someone else in the place. How are you going to build trust in that sort of...
You can't.
They can't even trust each
other. Because you don't have
it
in your own party.
They can't even trust each other. So how can you build trust in that sort of manner? And, if you can't trust the parties that you're voting for in the normal two preferred party system, people are going to look elsewhere.
I've just scrolled back up in my bit here to reread that definition for desultory, okay? And then I'll have to find my spot again. But I just want to remind listeners what it means, okay? Desultory is actions, conversations, or efforts that are aimless, haphazard, and lack a consistent plan or purpose. Jumping from one thing to another, reflecting a lack of enthusiasm or focus. Such as you were just saying there, Swirls. It's mental.
They're just winging it.
Yes.
How can you trust anyone that just wings it?
At the end of that bit there, it did say in the interweb searchies, this is a matter of political opinion and supporters of the government would likely argue that their policies are thoughtful and deliberate rather than desultory. And of course they would, because they're supporting it and, they've got their blinkers on and they really want whatever it is that they want.
Yeah.
Selfishly. Not the greater good. Anyway, I also then asked the interweb for their take on the most non-desultory politician in Australia. And it's kind of funny because it popped back out. Senator Penny Wong, frequently identified as the most trusted and consistent or non-desultory politician in Australia. Okay.
I'm sure there's many that would disagree.
It says most trusted, consistent / principled Penny Wong. Consistently named as Australia's most trusted politician in studies conducted by, this is the thing, you have to look up this research facility here, Roy Morgan Research in March 2022 and December 23. Described by biographers, autobiographers, and observers as principled, intellectual, private, restrained and sane. Wow. You're in the money when somebody has to describe you as sane.
Well, the biographers, they'd be supporters that would be writing that. And so AI is just, I just saw this. And
just grabbed it and threw it out there. It then says high performance and focus. She was rated as the most effective minister in the Albanese government in surveys of Australian Financial Review readers in 22 and 23. I'm not sure why they drew back to quite a few years ago when I was searching these things. It's interesting.
You said something. It's like, so when you're looking at it, when you look at statistics, you can make them say whatever you want them to say.
Oh, of course you can.
So the most
Ask Bill Gates.
most successful in the Albanese government. Well, that's not hard because
No, like if you're comparing yourself to Albo, you're probably doing all right.
huge competition here. So I just thought, oh no.
Oh dear. It says, as Minister for Foreign Affairs and Leader of the Government in the Senate, she has maintained a reputation for maintaining composure during heated debates. Cool. So she knows how to have a conversation like a grown-up. That's good. Like, isn't that the bare minimum that we require from all humans, let alone our pollies? It also says conviction politician from a minority perspective. And then it pops Pauline Hanson in here. Has been described by The Australian as an ultimate conviction politician due to her refusal to change her positions on immigration and energy over 30 years. Nice. That I can get behind.
Yeah, if you got something, stand by it.
Yeah.
Whatever side of the fence you're sitting on, just stand by what you believe in and go for it.
It gave me 3 dot points, 2 for Penny and 1 for Pauline, and I tend to believe the latter. Conversely, but voters have often expressed a desultory attitude towards both major party leaders, with high distrust scores recorded for opposition leader Peter Dutton and former Prime Minister ScoMo. Yeah, rightio. Okay.
I couldn't see why.
This is going to just take us forever unless I bust through it, hey? We're still not going to get to Rubik's Cube yet again. There's really good stuff to tell you about Rubik's.
We're going to go through it. Power on.
So the opposite, tell us who is the most desultory politician in Australia as opposed to the least, as we just discussed, which was Penny Wong and Pauline Hanson. Based on historical analysis and recent political sentiment, there is no single consensus figure for the most desultory, lacking purpose, inconsistent, or disconnected politician in Australia, but several figures are frequently cited in public discourse and media for varying reasons. So it talks about Billy Hughes, who was highlighted for extreme political inconsistency, changed party membership 5 times, laboured a Nat and Labor, Nationalist, Australian, United Australia, Liberal, over 51 years, moving around all over the shop. ScoMo, frequently described as a worst Prime Minister by critics for incidents such as taking on secret ministries, his handling of the 2019-2020 bushfire crisis, and being perceived as having few positive policy initiatives.
Secret ministries, the Ministry of Truth.
Malcolm Turnbull, labelled by some commentators as a miserable ghost or ineffective leader following his tenure despite high popularity as a preferred PM earlier in his career. And then you've got Lydia Thorpe chucked in the mix here, which I thought was a bit weird. Says identified in recent polling and media as a highly divisive figure known for disruptive, inconsistent action such as challenging the monarch rather than traditional legislative work. And I'm pretty sure when you use the old Google search, right, that it's very well intertwined with things like ABC and SBS.
Yes.
So you go, oh, Lydia Thorpe, she's not been falling in line with our party line. She is not war is love and not 1984ing with the slogans we have told her to do. So we don't like her.
Do you think that
Lydia
Google
Thorpe's
AI
pretty cool.
could be woke?
I think it's broke.
Broke.
Just FYI.
Yeah.
It says note at the bottom of this in italics, political popularity and most disliked metrics frequently shift, with Anthony Albanese experiencing declining popularity in 2024-2025 polling. How the turntables swells.
How the turntables.
Right, what are we on the time? Should I just tell you some cool stuff about the Rubik's Cubes?
Go for it.
Okay. Efforts that are not aimless or haphazard, desultory being our word, we have the Rubik's Cube. And there's some really cool stuff about this, okay? Bear with me. Invented in 1974 by, can't pronounce it, Erno Rubik, a Hungarian architecture professor. He originally created it, this is very cool, as a teaching tool to help his students understand 3-dimensional geometry and structural movement. Love it. So the invention is 1974. First prototype is wood and rubber bands, and it took him a month to solve his own invention for the first time when he first put this together.
It's taken me 40 years to solve it. So.
The patent in 1975 applied for. 1977 first sales, so the first test batches of the Magic Cube appear in Budapest toy shops. 1980 It's rebranded and launched globally via a deal with Ideal Toy Corp, and they renamed it Rubik's Cube, and it debuts in international locations, London, Paris, New York. By 1 year later, 81 to 83, it's a global craze. Over 200 million units are sold worldwide in 3 years. And if you consider how much, think about the population of the Western world and those that actually have currency to spend at that point in time, that is massive. In 1982, it's only been out for a year and a bit at this point. The first World Rubik's Cube Championship is held in Budapest. An American won it. Min Tai was their name, with a time of 22.95 seconds. Crazy.
Yeah, very crazy. I suppose that's the modern day version of going viral.
Well, it wouldn't have been viral. There wasn't. Nobody's watching that on YouTube. There wasn't a YouTube. Right. You just bought the toy, were obsessed with it. Somebody told you there was a competition, and your parents backed you and sent you to it. Like, that's amazing. Yeah. 2000s to present, and then revival, it says. The rise of the internet and YouTube leads to a resurgence in popularity and the birth of speed cubing as a competitive sport governed by the World Cube Association. There's got to be a regulator body on everything.
To regulate the regulators.
I was actually, when I was reading that, so that's very cool, and not to detract anything from Mr. Cube, shall we call him? Yes. Oh, no, that sounds like I'm talking about Ice Cube. No, Mr. Rubik. Mm-hmm. I was curious if there were others that came before that had invented this but, didn't get it to the marketing bit.
Pattern.
Yeah. So I did find that in 1970, 4 years before Rubik's invention, his initial invention and prototype, American chemist Larry D. Nichols patented a 2x2x2 puzzle that could be rotated in groups. The difference was that he used magnets to hold the pieces together, which made it really unstable. Mm-hmm. There's a legal battle from it. In the 80s, the company owning Nichols' patent, the one that came before Rubik's, actually sued Rubik's distributor. And the courts eventually ruled that Rubik's 2x2 pocket cube infringed on Nichols' patent, but his 3x3 vibe did not, because its internal interlocking plastic pieces were a distinct mechanical innovation. Because Nichols had used the magnets which were unstable, etc. Rubik's had rightly one-upped him, but Nichols had come first. Yes. And then there's the 15 puzzle, which is the 2D ancestor. Rubik himself, in his documentation regarding the puzzle he was building, cited the 15 puzzle, which is a 19th century sliding tile game. He cited that as a major influence into him coming up with this. So you've probably done them before, where you get the picture and you can scramble it, or
and you move them into one up, one down, one across. And,
you only have one empty space, so you have to just figure out how to put them all in their positions, and that's the 15 puzzle, which involves moving tiles within a 2D frame to reach a specific numerical order. Rubik's goal is he wanted to see if the sliding mechanics of the 15 puzzle could be translated into a 3D space, because he was trying to help his students when he's coming up with it, so pieces could move independently without the whole structure falling apart. And then a couple other ones in here. Other early twisties. Frank Fox, 1970. He applied for a patent for a spherical 3x3x3. He called it an amusement device, finger quote, held together by interlocking tongues and grooves. And then you got William Gustafson in 1960, even earlier, filed the earliest known patent for a 3D manipulatable toy, is what it says, manipulatable toy, that resembled a spherical 2x2x2. And then you have Meffert in 1970 invented the Pyraminx, a pyramid-shaped puzzle, around the same time Rubik was working on the cube, though he didn't patent it until after Rubik's success. So Rubik got there first.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, I reckon.
I can't believe there was that many beforehand.
Yeah. Well, that was a bit that I was, I love Rubik's, and I think it's really cool, but I was interested what kind of influenced the interest, if anything, and there's a lot. It does say here, as a point of mathematical inspirations, Rubik was a professor of architecture and design and his primary motivation was descriptive geometry, the study of representing 3D objects in 2D. He also drew inspiration from tangrams and soma cubes, which are traditional puzzles based on building larger shapes from smaller geometric units. Yeah. Oh, and then some stats for you, because this is amazing.
Yeah.
World records with Rubik's Cube. 3x3x3, single solve world record, 3.05 seconds.
It took longer for you to say that than it did to solve the Rubik's
Well,
Cube.
I was saying it slowly for effect. Please hold. Xianyi Zheng from China on the 13th of April 2025 surpassed the previous record of 3.08 seconds held by Yihan Wang. And then 3x3x3 blindfolded 11.67 seconds by Australian teenager, go Australia, Charlie Eggins on the 10th of January 2026 at the Cube 2026 in Sydney. He currently ties the world record average for this event at 14.05 seconds with Tommy Cherry.
Well done, Charlie.
How cool is that?
That's amazing.
Blindfolded, what?
I think Insane. I've got the record for the longest.
Yeah, mine's still going.
Still
I
going.
have so many of them. I got one in the car, one in my handbag. I just have to go back to my instructional booklet that's like, okay, make the cross, the white cross, and now make the daisy.
You pull them apart, put them back together, done.
Or just take the stickers off, you big cheater. No, I want to learn how to do it. I just don't put enough time into it. Anyway, as we get to the end here, I just wanted to mention Mother's Day because it's Mother's Day.
It is.
Happy Mother's Day. I just wanted to give you a quick little verse here from Proverbs 31, the proverb about the virtuous woman. The whole chapter of Proverbs 31 is beautiful and convicting and encouraging. But verse 25 says, strength and honor are her clothing. I think that's really lovely.
Yeah.
So happy Mother's Day to my mother and the beautiful mums in my life that guide and support me and hold my hand and listen to me when I'm having a rant about life being hard. And happy Mother's Day to all the other mamas out there, like the ones that are grieving a lost mum and you don't get to say happy Mother's Day to her, or lost children, those still waiting for their babies, and the dads that are doing it on their own, don't have mum around. You all are amazing and God sees you, and Ecclesiastes 3:11, he hath made everything beautiful in his time. So you got this. On that note, that was fun.
As always.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Until then, God bless. Happy Mother's Day. Peace out.
This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We're not professors, pastors, or politicians. You're not more likely to suck less or try harder having listened to these shenanigans.